Hey, I'm always talking about muscular imbalances as it relates to the first layer of strength, neuromuscular strength, and I've talked about assessments in that way. I've done assessments, I've learned about assessments, but very rarely do I get an assessment done on me. This is my buddy Taylor. He goes to one of the best schools in the world for neuromuscular strength. It's called Neuromuscular Somatics, right?
Center for Neurosomatic Studies.
Somatic Studies here in Clearwater. It's in Clearwater, right? So it's in this particular area. I mean, we have some of the greatest practitioners and schools in this area. I'm grateful for that. But anyway, so he came by to do some practice on me. Figure you guys might find it somewhat fascinating to see someone else do an assessment on me, what he finds. I'm pretty screwed up, so I'm sure that there'll be some interesting things that he finds. And then we're gonna do a little bit of therapy on helping correct or at least alleviate some of my imbalances to the best of his ability. Cool, so enjoy this.
Just note down on my chart here what I've been observing and what I'm seeing. And that'll kind of give us a little roadmap as to how we can help correct Elliott or iron out some of these what we would call postural distortions.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I broke this tibia.
You did? Mm-hmm. Right tibia.
Yeah.
Arch is going down a little bit on that side.
More down on the side, more collapsed. Yeah, this is my screwed up side. Well, they're both screwed up because this one's screwed up. What happens is I get a lot more pain in the hip. Like, IT band's a lot tighter, so it's getting really tight. And then in here, deep in here, especially like if I lay over, if I do a deep hip extension stretch, it's like there's something in there. Like Chris was making me laugh while I was stretching the other day. I was like, and I started laughing. I was like, oh, stop, don't do it. But it's like, it's deep. Like I can walk around, it will never bother me until I go into like a really extended hip stretch. And it's like, oh, what the hell is in there? Oh, okay. Putting pennies in my ear. People are just like,
So strange.
yeah. It's like mystical. Pens in the ears. Whoa, that's gotta be something very important.
It actually is really important. Measurement present. They're all important, but
Yeah.
that's one that's missed a lot. In flare, out flare, temporal loads.
All right, so what'd you find?
What I find. So see what we were talking about here, the viscerosomatic relationship. So when you're standing, your shoulder wants to be up left, right? Your clavicle wants to be up left. But when you lie down, it switches over to the other side. Same with your rotational patterns. So you'd be like this or like this. Your right side wants to rotate forward.
Right.
But when you're standing, you actually rotate a little bit left. So what that would indicate to us is that you have subtle proprioceptive mechanisms.
So just to reiterate, like for you guys that are watching this right now, what he's saying is that my body in a standing position will show a muscular imbalance.
If it translates over into when you're lying down.
Okay, so it's actually muscular if it stays the same when I lay down. Right. But if it shifts and changes, my posture changes upon laying down, then it's visceral.
If it moves into a distortion. So let's say you had a left high shoulder when you were standing up, and then when you lie down, now it's back to normal.
That would
that's not visceral, but let's say you were like this, but then when you lie down, all of a sudden you shift to this.
Right.
Now that might be more visceral, pulling you down into it.
And that's what I look like.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Good.
So
I mean,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, often I'm talking about how the muscular system is affected by the visceral, by the organs, and this is just one of the ways that practitioners can test this or assess this. Cool.
And what we find in school that it may come from the visceral, but as we were talking about before, it might also come from what your emotional state is at the time, your psychological state. Maybe you've been dealing with some clients who've been giving you a hard time. You're just like, man, I just don't feel good today. So your limbic system is involved, and now you have that postural pattern, and that might be something that we do see in standing, the change into lying down. There's a lot of factors to take into consideration. Right now we're looking at mostly neurological, muscular, and also the visceral aspect of things. We're also kind of looking at skeletal a little bit more, assessing your cranium, and we're looking for structural leg length inequalities and smaller heavy pelvises and stuff like that. Also, of course, if people have injuries like Chris over there, broken clavicle, broke your tibia, that's going to play a role in your postural pattern as well.
Cool. So what else did you find?
We have some fixations in your cranium, a little bit of what we would call temporal obliquity. Two bones here, your temporals like to move in a little bit like this. So we'd call this an in-flare and an out-flare on this side.
Yeah, I can even see that when I look in the mirror.
Yeah, and it's fixated, so fixation means, from standing to supine, it goes back down. And your pelvis is a little bit interesting, because we saw that same in-flare, out-flare. But when lying down, the out-flare switched to the other side. So you might have some organs influencing the position of your pelvis.
All right, cool. What do you need?
Let's have you lying down on your left side.